Between the Stripes TV pre-season special. I'm your host Kieran Burke, and I'm delighted to say I'm joined by my good friend and my Between the Stripes LOI podcast co-host John Bryer. He's kindly agreed to join me for today's show as we take a look at how clubs up and down the land are coming together ahead of the start of the new League of Ireland season. Of course, kicks off this coming Friday, the 15th of February, for the Premier Division clubs, and then a week later the First Division clubs will get down to business. On today's show we have goals, highlights and exclusive interviews from a number of pre-season friendlies that we have been covering across the country in recent weeks, and myself and John will be talking transfers, predictions and much more throughout the course of the show. But let's start the show tonight. We're going to go to Oriel Park. We have the goals from Longford Town, their trip to Oriel Park last Tuesday night. Neil Fenn, of course, making a very unwelcome return, I think it's fair to say.
I'm sure he got a great reception, did he?
Yeah, a small crowd looking for Neil, but they returned to the Carrick Road venue, and it was a bit of a surprising result. I know a lot of people don't pin much interest on pre-season results, but in terms of performance, it was very, very good from Longford Town. So here are the goals and some exclusive interviews from Dundalk against Longford Town.
Neil Fenn, 2-2 result at your former club here at Dundalk. You must be delighted with that performance early on in pre-season still.
Yeah, it was really good. It was the hard work the boys put in, some of the quality in possession, some of the way we played out, and we played through the midfield, and you know the goals we scored as well. We're really pleasing performance.
I know a lot of people will always say results in pre-season don't really matter, but to go down to Cork, get a win, and then come up to Oriel Park, come from behind and claim a 2-2 draw, you must be pleased with that.
Yeah, like you say, the results don't matter. It's about the performance. We can only go by our performance and what we've been working on, and the new players that have come in have really took it on board. The amount of work they're putting in, the hard work, because it is a hard work it's a shift when you come away to Dundalk and when you come away to Cork and play those types of teams. It's very, very difficult, and the boys have to be disciplined in what we're doing, and they did that today.
Conor Kenner making his official debut tonight after signing just before the game. You must be delighted to get such an experienced player into that back four.
Yeah, I think we need a little bit of experience. I think probably last year we were a little bit young and a little bit naive at times. Still had good quality, just a little bit naive. I think Conor will come in now. He'll get people around him. He'll know when to slow the game down, when to speed it up. And you see today, I thought he was excellent today.
And next up, it's Sligo. How do you feel things are coming overall in pre-season?
I think they're coming along well. We were missing a few boys today with various reasons. A few college games on today and a couple of injuries. So no, we're pleased with how it's going. I think the fitness levels, that's the worrying thing at our level is whether the boys, the fitness levels can match the other teams. And I think we've shown over the last couple of weeks that we're matching other teams for fitness. So that's great. And as long as we can clear up a couple of little knocks and niggles, we'll have a full squad.
And Dean Byrne came back there today after obviously out for a long spell last season. He's suffered with the flu last week as well, I understand. So you must be delighted to get him back into the fold. Do you feel you have enough going forward now, or will you look to maybe one or two more additions before the end of the transfer window?
No, I think we've probably got enough now. We've got a lad, Sean Brennan, coming in from Southampton on loan, a midfielder, young lad. So that'll probably finish our squad now. I think with Dean Byrne, Jamie Doyle, Colton. Who else have we got? Who's up front? Adam Evans, Aaron Dobbs. We've got a lot of forwards, and Peter Hopkins missing today as well. So we've got a lot of forward options and plenty of pace and plenty of ability going forward.
You can see me shaking on the camera here. I bet you'd love to have the luxury of the Spain camp that the Dundalk lads had last week.
Yeah, 6 days in Spain. I've been to Vinny before. He's got a little bit of a tan, so they look good for it, and I'm sure they'll do very well this season. They're a very good team.
And have you had a chance to look at Limerick yet? Obviously, they're your opening opponents in the league.
I haven't had a chance to see me. I've got a couple of videos that I need to go through, so we'll do that closer to time.
Neil, thanks very much. John Gill, 2-2 result against Longford Town. First of all, you must be delighted to be back at Dundalk, obviously.
Thrilled to be back here and didn't expect it. It was my son and myself in late November or early December when I got a phone call from the club, Vinny. Great to be back. Didn't expect it. Wasn't looking for it. But I think nobody saw the circumstances of Stephen leaving under the circumstances that he did and how quickly it happened. So happy to come back to help the club. And help Vinny and the backroom team that are here. It's a great football club. It's close to my heart from my first time being here all those years ago, 10 years ago, and the way it ended. So it's great to come back and be part of something, and it's a privilege to be back actually working with this group of players.
You only have to look behind us here at the YDC to see the changes, and obviously the great gym facilities have gone in there. How big of an advantage is that for Dundalk now to have everything on site?
Unbelievable. I mean, I'm sure you had a look at it earlier on yourself, but I mean the gymnasium, we've an analyst room now, we've a medical room. The facilities are first class here, and you couldn't. It's a brilliant environment for players to come into. New dressing rooms over there. It's a great place, special place to come to work in the morning. And they're a great bunch of players, very humble, very focused. I can see why they've won so much. But the biggest thing about them is they're so respectful, and they treat everybody with the same respect. They're respectful to who they play against, focused and hungry. I mean, the training games to be tasty. But it's been a brilliant few weeks.
And the new additions impressing tonight, obviously, opening goal there from Dan Kelly, and news before the game that Murray is now signed as well. How excited are you about that addition in particular? Because by all reports he was fantastic here against Drogheda.
He's going to surprise a few people here. He looks a quality player. You don't play 80 times for Waterford at the level that he played at. It's a great opportunity for him to come here and reboot his career, and young Jordan Flores as well. Kelly done well. I thought tonight he looked a little bit more like himself. Taking him a while to settle in. It's a daunting place to come and try and play football, because you're coming into a group that's achieved so much, and he's a good young player. Great hopes for him. I think we're in a good place. We get Jamie McGrath back as well, so we're in a good place. We have a good squad. There's a great atmosphere around the place. We had a great week away in Spain last week at a training camp. Played 2 very competitive games. I have to say, it's been eye-opening for me. I mean, you can do all the coaching courses you want. I've learned probably more here in probably 4.5 weeks than I have in any coaching course I've done, and that's from working with these bunch of players.
We have Pat Hoban there messing around with the camera. How many goals is that man going to get this season?
Well, he's off the mark tonight. I mean, I think again, you saw it tonight. I thought in the first half he was very, very good. He's getting sharper and sharper. The thing with Pat is to keep him on the pitch, and we've tailored his pre-season. He's done a really, really good pre-season. This time he's way ahead of where he was this time last year. Believe it, he missed the first 4 or 5 games, I think, through injury. So I think we'll be okay. Looking forward to Turner's Cross and getting part of that rivalry. I'm good friends with John Caulfield. I know John well. But we'll get down and we'll give them the respect that they're due. But the season really starts this weekend.
Yeah, you had a good camp in Spain, as you mentioned. Tonight was a good game as well. But how important is it to get a competitive game? And you'd imagine it's going to be a bit of a fiery one down in Turner's Cross. That must be a big advantage to have that before you go into your first league game.
I think it is, Kieran. I think any cobwebs that you have on you, it's going to be blown away. It's going to be really competitive. It's a great game to get. Both teams are probably going to want to be laying down a marker, and people can say, people outside or even internally, people say that's only a friendly. It's more than a friendly. Let's be honest, we all know that. We want to go down there and lay down a marker. I'm sure they're the same, and it gives each team a chance to lay down. But as I said to you, lay down a marker to everybody else. We feel we're in a good place. I'm sure they feel they're in a good place. So it'll be the immovable object against the irresistible force.
Certainly looks like it's going to be an interesting season ahead, though. Obviously, all the changes here at Dundalk. If St. Pat's have made some great signings, Shamrock Rovers have made some great signings, Cork are going to be challenging again. You must be really excited for the year ahead.
Absolutely, and Derry have revamped as well and rebooted. I think it's going to be a really, really tough competitive league. We feel if we play to our potential that we're a match for anybody. As has been proven the last 4 out of the last 5 years, we just got to keep the continuity going, and we want to ramp it up even more. People said, how do you progress and win a double? Well, try and win a double better. Try and do it better.
Maybe a treble.
That's you. You said that, not me, Kieran.
John, thanks very much. Sean Gannon, 2-2 draw against Longford Town. Thoughts on the performance?
Yeah, we're still, we're improving all the time. Good workout. Longford were very good. They came here and they played great football, and It's good for everyone else to get minutes under their belt again.
And how are you finding the changes so far in pre-season?
Yeah, pre-season's been great. Obviously the week away last week was really good. You know, we got to work on a lot of stuff, and we 2 tough games against good opposition. You know, so it was great to actually play games while we were over there. And yeah, pre-season's gone in quite quick, to be honest. You know, all of a sudden now the league is fast approaching, so we're still we're getting ready, and it's moving well.
And the new lads bedding in quite well?
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Obviously, they've been around the place now for a while, and they settled in really well. They're really good players, and the quality of the squad, I think, has improved all the time, and they'll be big players for us this year.
I'd imagine you're the one the manager asked to show the new lads around, since you're here so long now at this stage.
Yeah, a few of us are part of the furniture here now, so listen, it's a great group to come into. You know, as a new lad, it's a very welcoming group, and you know, it's a humble group, and everyone just wants to work hard and be successful. So it's they've slotted in really well from the start, and you know, hopefully they'll have a big part to play this season.
Pre-season nearly out of the way now. President's Cup obviously coming up. Eager to get the first trophy of the season under the belt.
Yeah, it's a good game. You know, obviously we are preparing for Sligo, first game of the season. But President's Cup, ourselves and Cork have been, you know, neck and neck for so long, and it's never really a friendly when we play each other. We both want to win, but it'll be a good occasion, and hopefully we come out on top.
And where does the hunger come from to keep going every year? Obviously you've won almost everything now at this stage. You could be one of the most decorated players in League of Ireland history the way you're going at the moment. Where does the hunger come from to keep coming back every year and doing it again and again?
It's just part of, you know, you have to buy into it when you come here. There's no other way of getting away from it. That's the mentality of the group here, that's the mentality of the club, and you know, you come here to be successful, and while you're here you want to win as much as you can. It's just probably everyone wants to, while they're here, lift trophies, and that's why new lads come to the club, and that's why lads who have been here every year have the hunger to go again. And if you don't have that hunger to win, you won't end up being here.
Sean, thanks very much.
So John, an impressive display from Neil Fenn's boys there, but let's start briefly with Dundalk tonight. So much has changed around Oriel Park this season. Can I ask you, do you think the Lilywhites can retain their crown in 2019?
Well, to be honest, you say so much has changed, but I think so little has changed. I know the manager's moved on, but Vinnie Perth's still there, isn't he? So I don't think there's going to be a right lot of difference in the way Dundalk set up from the previous season. I think it's more strong and stable. We know what happened to the Tory government in England with Theresa May. So, but I think they'll do just as well as they did last season. I don't think there's, like I said, I don't think we'll see a big difference in the way they play, the style that we get. I wouldn't expect any massive changes that way. The squad basically the same. A couple of
well, the big news before the game Tuesday was the arrival of Sean Murray. He's now signed with the club. Of course, almost 80 appearances for Watford, and really caught the eye there. He's played for other clubs in England, but he's not one of these players we've seen come back to the league that's consistently falling down the levels. They're coming back here trying to kickstart the career. Obviously, there's a certain element of that in Sean Murray, but he's been playing in Danish football, top flight most recently, so he comes with very, very high pedigree.
I think the difference as well is that they've kept hold of the superstars this time of Dundalk, whereas we've seen previous champions being, the players being cherry-picked by clubs over the water.
It's quite ironic this season that they kept all their superstars on the field and the main man goes off the field, but as you said, I think it's a real continuation with the management team they brought in there.
Yeah, I think the challenges have weakened. So the main challenges over the previous few seasons, Cork City, I don't think they've strengthened at all. I think they're a lot weaker. I think the budget's obviously reduced there, so I can't see them challenging Dundalk this season. I'd probably expect them to win at a bit of a canter.
Yeah, obviously we were recording here the night before the President's Cup final takes place, so we'll be discussing that in full on Between the Strikes LOI podcast on Monday night, so keep your ears peeled for that. So we won't talk about that too much, John, but you feel Cork are weaker. Where else do you see maybe a threat to Dundalk this season?
Well, I'm going to put the hat out there, and I'm going to say I expect St Pat's to run them closest.
I have to agree. I think of all the clubs that have done dealings, I think Pats have certainly done the best.
Yeah, I think Harry Kenny, he's an astute manager, and what to me he's doing, he's really solidified the team, and he's got two strikers there, in Gary Shaw and Mikey Drennan, that might not work by themselves, but put them together. We saw Shaw and Davy O'Sullivan for Longford work really, really well.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, if I was a centre forward, who would I want up front with me? And somebody like Gary Shaw is perfect, because he's the perfect foil.
If that wasn't already good enough, you've got Chris Forrester now playing in behind them, so I really like to look past this season, I have to say.
Yeah, another year for Tower in defence. I just think they'll be a lot more solid will pass, and they've got that threat going forward that maybe they didn't have in the past. And of course, they've still got the likes of Madden and so much creativity in that team. I think they'll do well.
Yeah, okay, John. We're going to turn our attention now to the other half of the Midlands as we bring you full highlights from Athlone Town against Finn Harps, with more exclusive interviews to follow.
Joined on Between the Stripe TV here by the Athlone Town manager after a fantastic performance, it must be said, here at the Athlone Town Stadium, a 2-2 draw against Finn Harps. Terry, what was your thoughts on that performance?
Yeah, I thought we played very well. Passed and moved the ball. It was good to see. Brought in 2 new players in the last week, as you see, added really into the squad. Unfortunately, we made 8 changes and it kind of disrupted us a little bit. But overall, the performance, I'm very happy with the performance.
Yeah, you mentioned the new lads coming in there, Rhys Gorman, Kaleem Simon, 2 former Longford Town players. So obviously your team is still gelling. Do you feel you can get ready for that Wexford game quite quickly, get them bedded in and have everyone familiar with each other quite quickly?
Well, I knew we probably had to put a whole new squad together, so therefore we got it in ahead of everybody else. I would say we started in the first week in December, so as we added players in, the familiarity is not as great, obviously, because we had a little bit more time to work on it. But Kaleem coming in and Rhys and Dean have been good signings in the last 2 weeks, A
lot more experience around the Athlone Town team this season. Obviously, you mentioned Darren Meenan, there are 3 League of Ireland titles. Like, you can't buy experience like that. Rhys Gorman's been around, he's won a first division with Longford, so a lot more experience than you've had in previous years. So what's the hope this season for Athlone Town?
Look, we're just going to go out and try to compete this year. Like last year was about playing, obviously, with a lot of young players in, and gave their credit. They gave it all last year, but like, we knew what we had to do this year going forward. We needed experience in the dressing room, and we set out a plan to bring in certain players and that could play a certain brand for me. We achieved that, and again, the experience we have can only hold us in good stead going forward. Yeah,
I'm glad you mentioned the brand of football, because it was quite obvious there today the way you're looking to play out from the back and keep everything on the deck. So you must be delighted with that surface you have out there now this season.
It's absolutely fantastic stadium down here, and like with the new Astro pitch in, it's second to none here in the Midlands. You couldn't ask for any better. It can only encourage you to play. Why would you try to play back to front football when you have a pitch in the stadium to go out and express yourself?
And finally, you obviously have the opening league game against Wexford, but you have a Leinster Senior Cup game against Dundalk, so that's another great chance to get the players fired up before the start of the league.
Good. Well, look, when we were asked about the Leinster Senior Cup game, I was delighted to take it. It just kicks us on then, looking forward to the Wexford game. Obviously it's another test for us, and it gives the lads an opportunity to have another game under the belt before the league starts off.
Terry, thanks very much and best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
John, can I ask you about Finn Harps this season? We've obviously just seen them in action there. They're going to be. Do you feel they'll be battling at the bottom? I feel there could be a surprise package this season. I think Ollie Horgan's done some good business. Looks to have a solid squad under him.
Just looking at the rules regarding suspensions and things that have just come out. I don't know how much of Ollie Horgan we're going to see on the touchline this season, but I don't expect Hearts to be in the bottom two. I think they'll do all right this season, because I'm looking at the signings that they've made, and they've got some solid signings, but they've also signed a bit of flair in the likes of Keelan McAleer, who we like certainly as a player. But the likes of Sam Verdon, Daniel Riley, okay, they were solid first division players, but they're the kind of player that you think should be okay in the Premier League.
Yeah, a bit of potential. He can slowly bed them in there. Where else do you see at the bottom of the table? Who else do you see maybe involved in some sort of dogfight?
Just before that, can't go off without mentioning Raskataro as well, because he's been there, done that, and he will add the experience to that Harps side, which have tended to be a bit of a yo-yo side, I think it's safe to say, in the past, but I think they'll be okay this season.
And where do you see the main danger at the bottom this season?
I think it'll be between two teams. I think UCD, just with the setup that they have now, I know they won the league first division, but they've lost a fair few players.
They've lost a couple of players, but I mean, there's already reports of some Richie O'Farrell as a name that I've seen pop up everywhere during pre-season. People really rate him highly. That's the thing at UCD, they just have a constant conveyor belt. When a player goes, another one comes along.
Yeah, and the other team I think might be struggling down there is Sligo now.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with you. Obviously, there was a great buzz when Liam Buckley came in there. He did some early business that excited people, but I mean, they've lost Mikey Drennan, they've lost Raskataro. The players they've brought in again, Sligo seem to have gone for this option in the transfer window, going for players from outside of the League of Ireland that aren't proven. We've seen that last season, that didn't work.
Has he still got goals in him?
That's Galway.
Galway, sorry, yeah. So he went back to Galway, but the likes of Chris Twade, yes, they've had a bit of time there, but is it? And I'm looking, and you're
just looking to see where the goals are going to come from on that side.
Exactly. They need a Vinny Fantasy.
So let's talk about the team we've just mentioned there, Sligo. They returned to a ground that they've had some trouble in recent seasons. They played Longford Town in a friendly over the weekend. Longford, of course, have dumped their M4 rivals out of the FAI Cup the last 2 seasons running. So we're going to bring you the goals now from that game and some more exclusive interviews.
No. You've done it again, haven't you?
Liam Buckley, 1-0 win here at the City Calling Stadium. Obviously it's a ground Sligo have had trouble in recent years, but a bit of revenge there, even though obviously it's your first time here with Sligo. But how did you feel that was as a pre-season performance?
Look, it was the pitch played quite heavy this evening for both teams. I thought Longford passed it quite well. For our lads, it's a good fitness exercise. Thought we've done okay. I'm pleased with it.
And how do you feel the team is gelling? Obviously a lot of change on the pitch of Sligo. Yeah,
there's a bit of bedding in still to be done with it. We're still working on the new lads we've got in, but I'm happy with what we have. We just need to add to it.
You seem to have a nice blend there of experience and youth in that side.
Yeah, we have about 6 or 7 of the lads come through the underage system with Sligo, so on top of that with the experienced lads, as you say, that we've brought in, there's a good mix.
And how are you finding yourself, obviously so long associated with St. Pat's? Have you noticed any major differences between Sligo and Pat's?
The distance. No, look, listen, I'm totally enjoying it. A great bunch of lads I'm working with, being very welcomed up in Sligo. So listen, we're looking forward to the season.
Yeah, and obviously you mentioned the welcome you've got in Sligo there. It's such a passionate football town. I'm sure you're looking to harness that energy of the fans up there this season.
Yes, certainly. When they were winning cups and leagues, the crowd up there was just phenomenal. So we've got to try and get that back sooner than later. And
you have probably the toughest start you could have been handed as a trip to Oriel Park. They've won the President's Cup there today, Dundalk. So how do you feel ahead of that opening game?
Look, it's always going to be a difficult opening game. Obviously they're the league champions from last year, and whatever the previous year they've won the cup and whatever. Look, we have to play them 4 times this year. Whether we get them the first or the 9th or the 8th or whatever game, it was always going to be a tough game. From our end, we've got to get ourselves fit and organised. We're nearly there from that end.
And in terms of Sligo's goals this season, people are maybe talking about getting towards them European places. Have you set out a target? I'm sure you're probably not going to tell us, but
look, no, I haven't set any targets out. You know, when you look at what Sean McGrover spent on money, on players, and you look at what St. Pat's have brought in, you look at Cork. I know they've lost 1 or 2, but they're still a strong squad. Dundalk have strengthened up. Like it's a dog rough league. There won't be any easy points from anybody. You know, so from our end of it, we try and take a match by match and see where we go.
Liam, thanks very much.
You're welcome.
John, we're going to bring you now as well. Before I ask you for your predictions maybe for the season, we're going to bring some final footage of the night. Our man Andrew Dempsey was at Bray Wanderers against Bohemians, and he's got some exclusive interviews for us now.
Yeah, I'm delighted to be joined by Dylan McGlade of Bray Wanderers. Dylan, good run out tonight?
Yeah, it was very good. Against a difficult side, a lot of good young players that they've got back from England, but it was still a good workout for us. I think we played well defensively in the first half, did better second half with the ball and stuff like that. I think it's just small little individual errors that we need to just cut out, and then I think we'll be good.
Yeah, and obviously we saw you in the second half, you drifted a bit further into the middle of the pitch. Is that something we can maybe expect to see this season?
Yeah, well, Gaz has said to me that he doesn't see me as having a position. He sees me as playing across the front three or in midfield and stuff. I'm comfortable anywhere. Believe it or not, I used to be a centre mid before I got pushed out wide, so I'm comfortable in the midfield as well and comfortable playing from deeper, but I'm sure Gaz will be switching it around every now and then in the league.
Yeah, and obviously just coming from Longford, was it hard to leave Longford in the end?
Yeah, it was. It really was. I have a good relationship with Neil and Dara, the fans and stuff like that as well. They were excellent to me while I was there, but it was just kind of a decision that I had to make there towards the end of the season, and I had a few things kind of lined up that didn't come true, and it was difficult, but I just felt it was the right time really.
Yeah, and have you found your time at Bray so far? Obviously, you know, it's a kind of a new era at the club.
Yeah, it's really good. When I spoke to Niall and I spoke to Gaz as well, I just they had a lot of good things to say, and Niall has really made it known that this is a completely different Bray to what people kind of have come to accustom Bray over the last few years, and he wants to start new and he wants to really make the club proper professional and stuff. And obviously I know Gaz from my time at Longford as well, so I know what he's about and I know what he wants to do and stuff, and it's been excellent since I come in, I have to say. Even from training to nutrition to the gym, everything is really run professionally. So
yeah, and look, finally, what's your ambitions for this year? Obviously I'd say promotion is the aim at the end of the year.
I think if you talk to any of the top 5-6 clubs, I think that everyone's going to say that they want to get promoted. I think we're just going to take it one game at a time, where a new side, a lot of new faces coming together and stuff like that. So it's going to take time to gel, but I think as long as we take one game at a time, one win at a time, we're going to go out to win every game anyway, as is most of the teams in the league. But I think that's how we're going to take it. One game at a time, one win at a time, and then see where it takes us.
Lovely. Thanks very much, Dylan.
No problem.
Thank you.
No
Cheers.
problem.
Cheers. I'd like to be joined by Bray Wanderers manager Gary Cronin. Gary, happy with the run out tonight?
Yeah, overall, I'll be happy with the exercise. Both are a really good side. Proved that last year, and they played really well in the first half of that game here tonight. So, from our point of view, from a football aspect of it, you know, we were pleased at half time with our intensity levels. We felt we improved in the second half. We were much better, you know. Obviously disappointed with the goals, but it was overall a good run out for us.
Yeah, no, and obviously last time Bowes were here, they actually won 5-0. Yeah. So is that maybe pleasing that you brought down to 2-0 against Bowes?
Yeah, never really looked at it like that. You know, we still lost the game and didn't score a goal. If you look at it like that, but it was a lot of similar players played in that game. But I have to say, all of our squad is different, probably by 1 or 2 players. So that's all. Listen, I don't need to think about that. You know, you're looking forward and looking forward to the next game. And tonight was just a good run out for us. I was happy with our fitness levels. We created a few chances in the second half. There's stuff for us to work on, of course. They're a really good side, and obviously first half they gave us a bit of a run around at times, but I thought in the second half we kept the ball really well.
Yeah, and obviously this year first, I suppose, your first full pre-season as a manager in the League of Ireland anyway. How have you found it anyway?
Yeah, it's not easy. It's certainly not easy, and I've learned a lot throughout the years, obviously from other managers and how to deal with certain things. But the managing part of it, there's different aspects to look after. It's not just on the pitch and coaching and so on. But for pre-season, the main aim is to get the players fit for football and football matches and motivation and so on. There's a lot of challenges within that, and there's a lot of different aspects and issues that you have to come across to deal with. So it's been enjoyable, stuff that we want to do. You put your own plans in place, which is good, and look, I have great staff with me that we're able to change a few things and play off a few things against each other to make improvements. So far it's enjoyable but hard work.
Yeah, and I suppose obviously you came in at the summer. Is there anything maybe you've learned that you were maybe surprised by at this level of football?
At this level?
Yeah.
Well, look, I've played at this level for years, and I've coached obviously at the level as well, but there's always a saying in football that never surprises you, you'll come across different things, but it's just different when you're the manager. Obviously there's a lot more pressure that fall on your own shoulders, whether it's self-inflicted or not, it's because you're responsible for what goes out in the park. Ultimately, that's the only for me, but everything else I would have thought I've experienced with the years I've had in it,
And look, finally, looking forward to this season, what's the aim in the dressing room at Bray Wanderers?
We've assembled a squad. It's a new squad, so we obviously have to get that together, but we want to go out and win every football match, like I'm sure a lot of other teams will be the same. So you want to aim for as high as you can go. We want to win the league, so there's other teams that are there. There's some good squads. I think it's going to be one of the most competitive force of business in many years. That's what we want to do, but who doesn't want to do that? So we want to be up there competing. So obviously when they're in the last phase of games, that's what we're in the race for those spots.
Thanks very much, Gary. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Cheers. Thanks, Harry.
So, John, many fancy Bray to be very close, if not going all the way back to the top flight this season at the first attempt. Do you give them a big chance, and how do you rate the transfer dealings that Gary Cronin has done so far?
Okay, so Bray, let's face it, last season they were a bit of a basket case, weren't they? I don't think anybody will deny that, and it was a real tough baptism for Gary Cronin there. But I think he will be saying, right, this is a blank piece of paper now, this is where we start. Because he didn't inherit much there last season, and they were odds on to go down, which they did. But I can see them being a very, very solid Division 1 side. Can they challenge? Shelbourne would be my favourites. Can they challenge Shelbourne? I think it's probably a little bit doubtful, but they have made some really good signings in the likes of Gabriel Sava and goals. Now I know he should be pretty good for First Division, I would say.
They seem to have got a good mix of youth and experience there. As you mentioned, Sava, Paul Keegan, I think is the big signing in the midfield, but then you've got the likes of Dylan McGlade coming in there and that little bit of X factor. So
yeah, Dylan McGlade and Phil Gannon as well from. They've signed him as well, so it looks pretty solid. There's a lot of players there that Gaz Cronin has coached before as well, so he will know what they're capable of. Obviously, the firecracker in that squad is Dylan McGlade, and is he going to reproduce the season he had for Longford last season? I'm not so sure, because I think maybe Fenn gets the most out of.
Yeah, that was going to be my point. I mean, Neil Fenn as a manager knows exactly how to get the best out of Dylan McGlade. Now, I think I'm correct in saying that Gary Cronin would have been at Longford when Dylan came in under Alan Matthews, and those performances certainly weren't what we seen last season. But Alan Matthews, of course, played a totally different style of football. But is it going to take Gary Cronin a little bit of time to get used to Dylan McGlade and how he works?
Well, possibly, yeah. I think there could be a bit of pressure on Gary, because there is obviously a bit of investment there, backing, you can say that, and I think he'll be under a little bit of pressure he's had his honeymoon as such. So I think he'll be under a bit of pressure to perform from the start.
Yeah, and you've mentioned Shells. Again, you can't look too much into pre-season results, but it hasn't gone well in pre-season for them. The likes of Conan Byrne have picked up knocks in pre-season, so if there's a slow start from the Tolka Park club, then the race really could be on. You're going to see the likes of Bray Longford, they can pick up early results. It could be a very, very interesting first division season.
I suppose you look at last season, and Longford were favourites to win it, weren't they? And finished nowhere in the end. And So, you know, we can't always go with what the bookies say, but you'd think with the signings that Shels have made that they should just rock.
I think if you go back to 2014 when Longford were the red hot favourites to win it after bringing in the likes of Pat Sullivan and Stephen Rice, David Sullivan, they had a slow start that season, but the quality of those players and the experience, of course, as the season went on, they won quite comfortably by 8 points in the end. I think we might see something very similar from Shels this season.
Yeah, I do think so. Once that team gels, I can't see anybody challenging them. I really can't.
Right, give me your table predictions. We'll start with the Premier Division. I won't actually go 1 to 10.
No, please don't, because I'm not written it down.
We might discuss it more on the podcast on Monday night, but just maybe roughly where you think teams,
yeah,
what type of seasons they might have.
I think Dundalk are going to be the top spots, and like I say, I'm predicting Pats maybe to finish.
Do you think that'll be a comfortable title win for Dundalk?
I think so. Yeah, this season. Yeah, I just think they've got it's settled. I know with the managerial change, we talked about that, but it's a settled team. I just can't see anybody really challenging them. I expect them to win quite easily.
Right, your top 4 then maybe?
Yeah, well, as I said, Pats, I would say will be challenging because I just think they've got a good all-round squad. Yeah. I think the goals from a lot of places in that team, and certainly with Forrester, would be an outstanding signing. I think all teams would have been clamouring to sign him, to be honest. As for who else is going to be up there, Shamrock Rovers. I expect them to finish third.
I'm really disappointed that Rovers still haven't managed to go out and get that striker. I know there was talk of somebody like Davy McMillan maybe coming in there. He would have been absolutely perfect. I think without that striker, I think they're just going to come short, but they should be a lot closer than they were the last couple of seasons. And if they're not, Stephen Bradley is going to be under a lot of pressure this season.
Yeah, well, they've really invested in Bradley, haven't they? They had a few opportunities. If they were going to pull the plug on Bradley, there was chances to do it last season, but they certainly stuck with him, haven't they, and backed him. So,
and you haven't mentioned Cork yet. Do you think they're going to be battling to be in the top 4 this season?
I think they're going to have a real struggle, Kieran. I really do. The amount of players they've shipped and the signings they've made, I think they'll be mid-table.
Mid-table? Outside the top 4?
I think so. Yeah.
I couldn't see that, John, to be honest. John Caulfield, obviously, he gets criticised for his style of play, but he can grind out results. He's brought in young players there. Personally, I don't think that's going to be enough for them to win the title because, as I said, with that style of play, I'm not sure exactly how them young players are going to bed in. The likes of Darrell O'Connor's coming from UCD will be used to playing a certain style of football, whether that's going to work. I mean, last season, look at the players they had, the McNamees, the Sadliers, and a lot of people would say he didn't get the best out of those players. So I'm not sure bringing in these technical young players is going to work. But in saying that, I don't see anything from the rest of the league. I mean, I would expect big improvements from you said, like Pats, Rovers, but Derry should be higher up. I still don't think. I think there's been too much change there for them to be considering Europe. Waterford are weaker than last season on paper.
They are, but I actually think they might be stronger than Cork, Waterford.
Oh, I can't see it.
You can't.
Really, I can't see a way how Cork will be outside the top 4.
Big signing today, though.
At Waterford, should do as well if he can get fit. That is, we didn't see a lot of them at Dundalk, but everyone seems to speak very highly of him. So hopefully he can get fit himself, and Bastianieri will be a very tasty midfield partnership.
Yeah, definitely. And just who else could be there? You talked about Derry, Waterford, Cork. I expect them to be all around the same level. So
I think that's what we've seen a lot in recent years. There's been a top tier, middle tier, and then you've got your bottom tier. Going to the first division, you're expecting Shels
just before that. I think one thing that does worry me is the club's performance in Europe this season. You know, looking at the teams who we've got, so we'd expect.
I think again you're probably relying on Dundalk a lot. And with Vinnie Park there, it's going to be his first time. He's been the manager in Europe. How's that going to go? You'd just be hoping to get a favourable draw, I suppose.
And they should. They're seeded out of this. First division. Well, like I said, we talk about who's going to win it, and Shels for me are the standout team. I know the pre-season hasn't been great, but pre-season, can you read too much into results? Probably not too much.
No. With the players they have, they should definitely be doing it.
For me, obviously Bray will be challenging for seconds. But then again, you look at the other team that went down Limerick. I can't see them being.
No, I don't think.
There, I think
things are right there at the moment.
No.
Up until this week, I was a bit unoptimistic about the season ahead for Longford, but having seen them in Oriel Park, obviously again, I'm not going solely after the result. I'm talking about the performance, the style of play, the little tweaks I've noticed, and the new players, especially that come in, the likes of Anton Breslin, really impressed me the other night. I think they're going to be up in that top 3 anyway. Or pushing for it at least. I think Drogheda will be there or thereabouts again. Galway, Project DNA, Vinnie Fatty's come back, Ira Daverns come back. How is that going to work? Can they challenge? I think after that you're probably looking again a a bit of a mixed bunch. The likes of Cavantini, I think Athlone will improve. I think Wexford will probably be well adrift of everyone. Yeah. So it's going to be an extremely competitive.
I think there's some poor teams in that division, though. I'm looking
but
at.
There's some good teams as well, and there's some great talent in that division.
Yeah, there is. I think you'll see quite a big split. I can see some teams at the bottom with very, very little points, and some at the top. You could have a situation where Shells are really running away with the points.
That's why it's fantastic that the playoff places are there. It goes all the way down to 4th. Last season, Longford and Drogheda battled it out to the final kick for a playoff spot. I think we'll see something similar, and I think we'll see again. I said Longford, Drogheda, Galway, all those clubs battling it out for that final playoff spot.
So especially if there is playoffs, because I could genuinely see, after maybe 12 matches, Shells may have won 10 and drawn 2 or something, and have a big lead. So it's a good job that there are playoffs.
Well, John, it's been a pleasure having you on the Between the Stripes TV pre-season special. Before we go tonight, folks, a reminder that Between the Stripes LOI podcast returns for a 3rd series with a Premier Division preview show on Monday, February the 11th. So if we haven't discussed your team on tonight's YouTube broadcast, you can be guaranteed we will cover the entire top flight in depth on our opening podcast of the 2019 season. And we're going to be joined on the opening show of the season by Daniel O'Reilly from Finn Harps, Declan Fabio O'Brien from Soccer Republic, and Gary Parsons, who is, of course, the host of the Tales from the East Stand podcast, Shamrock Rovers podcast. You can find Between the Stripes LOI podcast on iTunes now, while we're also available on all good podcast platforms such as Spotify, Radio Public, Podcast Addict, Podcast Republic, TuneIn Radio, and many, many more. Folks, thanks for watching this episode. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and share it far and wide, and we will speak to you soon.